That's Peter Gabriel and Sledgehammer on BBC Radio Shropshire, 28 minutes past 9. Getting checked over by the bouncers before you go in the club, that's sort of standard part of a night out now, isn't it? Evening, all right, yeah, okay, can't come in them, you can't wear in them. But how do you feel about the attitudes of those doorkeepers? I'll call them security people on the door, if you like. Tom Robinson set up his own security business, ESP Security Solutions, after growing to hate the character of some of those bouncers. And I told you my experience of some of the bouncers I've worked with over the years, right? Tom's doing lots and lots of work now, working on film sets, doing all sorts of things. And it turns out I've known him for longer than I thought. Hello, good morning.
How you doing? You all right?
Known him for ages, haven't I, really?
A little while.
Yeah.
Sort of, I think it's about 15 years, 16 years.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Because, hang on, maybe a bit closer.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Because you were at one stage making music with one of my lads.
I was indeed. That's so much I still continue on today. So,
do you? You're still
drumming.
involved in drumming?
Absolutely. In a little band called the Texels. So we do some cracking stuff. We're all barking mad. Yeah. So it mixes quite well with this as well, because now I'm sort of moving into sort of doing the security as well as the band.
Yeah.
So
just you don't get any smaller, by the way. I mean, I've never seen your shoulders are enormous. What are you eating for breakfast nowadays?
Oh, it's usually Mackey's, to be honest.
Are
the restaurants available?
Oh, yes, of course they are. Yeah. Does that, what I said about bouncers, does that resonate with you? Do you understand what I just said about
when
that?
I was, I mean, back 15 years ago when I was 18, I had an interesting experience with door supervisors, bouncers at the time, and it was the way they did the job back then was very old school, what we call it now. Now we're new school. So now we're door supervisors, which is the SIA, Security Industry Authority. They came in, the Act, the legislation was brought in 2001 or 2004, can't remember. But they were there and they came in to make it a little bit of a better place. Safer, more... just a safer place.
More responsible.
As well as actual training.
Yeah.
So you've now got training, and we're one of the local training providers in Shrewsbury, Shropshire. And what the SIA's main objective was to just make it more. I've forgotten the words now, but just make it a better place, a safer place.
Because there were some thugs on the doors, Tom.
Back in the day, my main the point that got me was when I was thrown down a staircase.
Really?
And it was in Shrewsbury, and there was this staircase, and it was this big sort of skinhead guy, real thick set, and I'd done absolutely nothing. I was with you, mate, having a bit of a banter, if you like, and he just looked at me the wrong way, and that was it. And I went straight out the back doors, and I got launched straight down a concrete staircase. Right. And that was the point where I went,
that ain't right.
That's not right, because you're here to look after me, and you're here. If something goes wrong, I want you to look after me. If I'm doing something wrong, I want you to look after me, but I don't want you to throw me down a staircase. Because this is the bad part of it. And this happens today. I mean, we move all across the UK and Europe doing what we do. But my main drive for this is just do it right. There's no need to, everybody's individual. I was with someone on Sunday night. I was looking after somebody on Sunday night at one of the clubs we work out. And these two chaps walk through. We're doing a meet and greet, and they're always great fun. And these two chaps walk up, totally different characters. One guy had questions all over his arm, and he was, I'm going to question this guy. I'm going to all these questions for him. And then his friend turns around and goes, why? He's still a person. So even though you've got these guys that you see on TV, yourself, all these celebrities that you may see the Sugar Babes, Little Mix, they're still people. There's still problems, there's still mental health. There's still those things, they've got to put bread on the table. They're still human. They're not just public figures. They're people like me and you. So that's where you go and you treat them like people. So if I'm here now looking at you, if I was someone that was working with you and I was always looking over the desk and peering in your eyes, you get a bit weirded out by that. So that's then the sort of getting startled by the people you work with, if you like. So if I'm working with someone on a close protection job, I've got to treat them like any normal person. So no starstruck, no nothing like that.
Sure.
Going back to the door supervision, the bouncers, that word, I agree with you, it's
a horrible word.
It's a horrible word. It's an old school word.
Yeah.
However, the main points that we want to try and get across for security nowadays is we want to make sure it is as compliant with the law as possible. There's no cash in hand. Because cash in hand at the minute is untraceable. So it might mean that, and I've spoken a few times on the radio about this, and a few times publicly about this, cash in hand is an untraceable thing. I pay some huge amounts of money for payroll tax, VAT, and the cash in hand industry, it doesn't allow that. So it gives them the upper hand for where I am. I'm a legitimate company. ACS, Approved Contractor Scheme, is something that the SIA, Security Industry Authority, they brought in, I think it was about 5 years after they established, they say 2008. Yeah. And it's basically a level that companies can achieve to make sure you are getting to get a good service. So the buyer needs to be educated. The buyer of security needs to be educated. The ACS companies are one step above.
To get that level of service. Yeah.
I've been independently vetted. Yeah. The whole company, my staff, every single one of them worked so hard to achieve the ACS standard. We were doing all sorts of hours. And every single one of them did so well, and everyone was so happy when we achieved.
Right. So that's a legitimate level now, you see.
That is a legitimate level.
Because as you said, I mean, it used to be, a quick tenner here, 20 quid there, and a couple of drinks.
I was watching a film yesterday, was it the day before yesterday? We did a brief for one of the events we're doing this weekend, and one of the guys from the office comes and says, Tom, you've got to watch this video. So we put it onto the big screen behind me, and it was how it was run. It was Rent-A-Bouncer from the 1970s, right? And there was like £3 a night. So, it was always that cash
in hand, that's it, yeah.
But now we're moving on. Yeah. And I'm hoping in 10 years that sort of cash, there was a thing on radio, that cash may even become deceased. Yeah. Gone.
But it is now more of a legitimate business, like any other business, isn't it?
Like any other business, like the bakers, like the corner shops.
Because you see, those guys that I worked with years and years ago in this blooming rough nightclub in Sheffield. What a hole that was, I felt quite safe, but, I did worry about a couple of them. There were two blokes, one big Scottish bloke, and he looked for it. And if it wasn't there, he'd find it and he'd make it. He'd make something happen that night because he just fancied
There
a
is
fight.
people still today that try and do that.
Really?
And that's what something called BS 7858. It's a British standard. We vet every single person that works on with our company. Some companies don't do that, but our company does. And that wheedles out all the people. It's screening for mental health conditions. It's screening for anything you can. I need to profile my guys to make sure, my staff, to make sure
squeaky
they
clean.
are squeaky
Bang
clean.
on.
DBS checks.
Yeah.
Because some people, security industry, once upon a time, maybe back in 1980s, 90s, it was a thugs thing. And you had gangsters that may have come in and they were trying to run your door for you. Now, you want proper business people running your door.
Because there's a legal requirement now. If I've got a venue, isn't it, that on a Friday and a Saturday night, I've got to have door staff, haven't I?
It depends on your premises licence. So that's what the council and the police then, you've got to apply to the council and police to run a premises because you're out serving alcohol. Yeah. Liquor licence, basically. And then the police and the council have a little bit of conflab, they make a decision on what your license requirements are. So you've got different appendixes,
and they will then tell me how many what I've got to do in terms of.
And that premises license has got to be up on every single venue, right, or every single bar, so people can actually view that. So some premises they might not comply with the premises license, but if door supervisors are necessary on a venue, you can check that. Any public can check that. The council and the police, they go around checking. So it's all about compliance. Yeah, now, sure. Which is what a legitimate company does with you as well. I consult for it.